I wanted to show you how cute this look, but we're going to talk about how bad the breath smell. Woo, cha. Hello, beautiful people. It's your girl, Miss Charlotte. And you know, on Saturdays, we talk about love, sex, and relationships, the issues with that. I have a very special guest. And as you can see, I have on a beautiful mask by BLT Evans. I'm going to leave all the information in the description. But I wanted to show you how cute this look. But we're going to talk about how bad the breath smell. Woo, cha. I had to bring in an expert because I know a lot of y'all like me, if you drink coffee and you put on that mask, ooh, we got to talk about the breath because that is not sexy. And so I have some questions for her. And so, whew, I'm going to take it off now. But child, these masks is no joke, and the breath. So what the first question I wanted for you is, I want you to bring down the difference between a dentist, hygienist, and a dentist. And you are Kim Farley. I know her as Kim, the beautiful Kim. But the first funny question I want to know is, I asked you, I said, what we smell inside the mask, is that what folks smell? Or do hopefully when the bad breath comes out into the air, it dissipates a little bit? It doesn't travel that far? Because child, give us some help. Please tell me.
Yes, thank you for having me, Charlotte. Just excited to be here with you and talk a little bit about some of my expertise in oral health. Yes. So first we'll start with the difference between the dental hygienist and a dentist. So dentists typically are more restorative and hygienists are more preventive. So when you go to the dentist is the one that does the fillings and, you know, they do the implants and oral surgeons and all that. The hygienist is the one that prevents you from being in that dental chair. So we're the one that treats disease. You would know it as a cleaning, but really in reality, we don't clean teeth, we treat disease. And most people have some form of gingivitis or of gum disease or periodontal disease. So it's my job to give you the tools that you need so that you don't end up losing your teeth. And also to help prevent that bacteria from spreading through your whole body and keep you out of the dental chair. So when you get to the dental chair, that's when stuff happens where they start doing the restoration. It's more reactive to what you've done. But my job is to keep you as healthy as possible and keep the disease level down as much as possible.
Okay, now it was something you just said that was kind of scary when you said for the disease not to travel through the body. Okay, fill us in with that.
So your body, the plaque that hangs out in your mouth, the stuff that gives you the stinky breath, is bacteria. And this bacteria is not used to being in your system. It's not used to being in your body on any level. So your body can overreact to it. So when you have gingivitis, it's basically when the bacteria, the buildup of the plaque and all that, builds up and it infects the gums. That's reversible. If you have gingivitis, that's something that we can reverse. When it goes beyond gingivitis, it starts to eat the bone. So that is what periodontal disease is when the bacteria eats the bone. So what it also does, you inhale it, you swallow it, and you're breathing it, and it's going through your bloodstream. So that bacteria travels through your body. It can involve your heart, it can involve your lungs, it can involve your brain. It's related to diabetes, heart disease, strokes. These are things that are important for the African American community to be mindful of, right? So for me, it's really important to get that message out to especially our community, but it definitely is a correlation between bacteria and systemic diseases. So we want to definitely try to avoid that. And the good thing is that gingivitis and gum disease actually really is 100% preventable. Even if your family members have it, it's still something that you can prevent. It's just something that you have to kind of do a little physical therapy every day for about 2 minutes a day.
Okay, now this is going to sound funny, but I used to love this cartoon, Mr. Yuck Mouth.
Yes.
Yuck Mouth, because I don't brush.
Yes.
So my thing is, how do we really look out for that, because unfortunately, there's a lot of people in our community who don't have health care, and they are afraid of the dentist. And a lot of times they just walk around with Mr. Yuck Mouth, you know, and this women and men, but what are the signs for them to really realize? Because a lot of times they get away with the bad breath, missing teeth. Sometimes they have gangrene, it looks like. I don't know if that's what it is, but tell me if that's what it is, but it's like green. And they just continue to just go on. Is there any signs for them to realize that they could actually harm themselves? And also, where does this bacteria come from? Is it the foods that we eat?
Well, the bacteria, part of it is the foods that we eat. Your body also produces this bacteria as well. It produces good and bad bacteria, but the combination of the two is where the problem is. And in a lot of cases, most people that don't go to the dentist and they've gotten to that point where things are pretty bad, and your teeth are looking kind of jacked, it's mainly from some bad experiences they had, and they're just really afraid of the dentist. So each time they go, it's a bad experience, right? So every time they go in, they're going, I got pain or something's going on here. Then they won't go until it gets really bad. And then every time they go, it's a problem. So we're trying to break that cycle. But the bacteria is something that is ongoing. So say, for instance, you do really good at night. You brush, you're flossing, you're rinsing, you're doing all the things that you need to do, right? Go to bed. Get up, you still have bad breath, right? And that's because that bacteria is constant. It's constant. So as far as us knowing, or people really knowing what it is and how they can prevent it, mainly it's, you know, if you're smelling the bad breath, that's not normal. That's toxics. Those are toxins and gases that are being released from that bacteria. Also, bleeding gums, things like that, loosening of the teeth, those are signs. But when you get to those points, it's already kind of done its underlying damage. So you want to make sure that you try to take care of it on a daily basis. And there's some simple things that you can do at home to prevent you, especially now with COVID and people really being afraid of going to the dentist, which I understand, because we are actually #1 in risk right now, at risk. So I do understand people not really wanting to go to dentists. However, your mouth is the gateway to your overall health. So you definitely need to make sure that you keep those checks and balances for your mouth. So if you're smelling bad breath, that's an issue. And especially in the mask, you smelling it in the mask, oh yeah, people are smelling that. People can smell that. So it does go away a little bit, but it travels. You know how they say that, you know, that 6 feet, that social distancing, because it's 6 feet, you want to keep that distance so you're not catching anything. Oh yeah, it travels that far. It can travel that far.
So if they have a mask on, if it's really, the odor is really bad for them, that is an awareness for you to realize that you could have a problem.
Right, right. And one of the biggest problems with gum disease is dry mouth. That's probably a precursor to a lot of problems with your teeth and your gums, because if you have dry mouth, then you're not really producing enough saliva, or the right type of saliva, to actually be able to wash some of that away. So making sure you stay hydrated is critical, not just for your mouth, but for your overall health. And that bad breath that you smell, yeah, it's definitely a big indicator that there is a problem, for sure. And it's really important to be mindful of that, because your body gives you signs, it gives you warnings. Healthy gums don't bleed. So it's really important that, you know, you take care of the mouth. So when you see the bleeding and you know that there's some bleeding going on, you might think, well, you know, my gums always bleed. I mean, if I had $1 for each time I heard that, I could have retired 10 years ago. But yeah, my gums always bleed. That's normal. They bleed when I brush or I spit out. Well, that's not healthy, because you shouldn't be bleeding from anywhere. And if I scratch my face or I scratch my arm or something and it didn't hurt, but I still was bleeding, I would be kind of alarmed, you know. So you want to know that that's a sign. Your body's letting you know it's an issue. And what it's doing is it's sending blood cells to an area that it sees as a threat, as an infection. And it's an infection, it's a threat somewhere in here: heart, lung, bones, blood. Your body's like, we got to try to heal that. So it's sending these blood cells to your mouth, because remember, you're inhaling it, you're swallowing it, and it's going through your bloodstream. So the body is trying to heal it, but it's a losing battle for the body because that bacteria is constant. You know, you brush, you floss, and you still have bad breath. It's constant. So after you brush and floss, within 2 hours, that bacteria is starting to reform. So one of the reasons why you need to be on top of it more than often. One time, my father, he had some lung issues. He was a stonemason, so he was exposed to a lot of cement. But he ended up in the hospital one time with pneumonia, and the doctor told him that she believed he was in there because he wasn't brushing his teeth. And I had been telling my dad for years, you gotta brush your teeth, Dad. And I think he thought because I was a hygienist, he was kind of immune. But, you know, I kind of was like, okay, now he's getting the message because he's inhaling it. Lungs are compromised. So he's inhaling this gas and this toxins, and the lungs are like, we can't handle this. This is a problem. So your body's gonna let you know there's a problem for sure.
And when you say signs, I became very aware of my breath when I had fibroids. I had fibroids, and I had to have the surgery several times. But I remember something was wrong with my body, and I remember it was coming out in my breath. And my grandmother, God bless her soul and rest her soul, she was a very honest, blunt person. And she just told me, she was like, your breath smells like death. Was something going on. But then I also ever since then, I've been very conscious of things. So like one, when the tongue is coated with white or yellow, explain what that's all about, because my grandmother was old-fashioned. She used to tell me, when you clean your mouth, you know, you brush your tongue, you brush the roof of your mouth, and get to the back of the molars, because a lot of times we kind of stay here and we forget to go all the way in the back. And there's a toothbrush called Reach for a reason, because they want you to reach back and get that stuff, because you're forgetting that. So a lot of times people may pick their teeth and they're like, why does my breath still stink? Well, you didn't get back here. So if you explain to us, what is the white coating, that is a sign, and the yellow coating that be on your tongue, and also those nasty little things when you have a cold or you get sick, there's yellow things in the back of your throat. I'm so mindful to all of this kind of stuff.
Yes, and those things are, that's like where that yuck mouth comes from. Those are tonsil stones. That is yuck. It's like a little cottage cheese.
A lot of people don't even know to look for that. They don't know to look at their tongue. They don't know to look at the back of their throat. It's just about awareness. And my grandmother, thank God for her, she was a stickler. So I'm always on top of it. So I really wanted to bring that to light, because when you're trying to date, that's the biggest turn off. You know, remember Mr. Yuckmouth, he was like, how's about you give me a little kiss? And it was like, somebody want to kiss no yuck mouth. I don't care how good looking you are, nice body. If that mouth ain't right, you can't get it.
Yeah.
So talk about those.
Subconsciously, that's a signal to us. Like whether we're aware of it or not, if somebody's got stank breath, it's kind of an overall like, you're not really taking care of your mouth. What does that really? You're representing yourself. If you got to make sure you take care of your mouth. So the coatings on the tongue. So your grandma was on point. She knew what she was talking about for sure. So yes, you have to brush your tongue. Your tongue is like a sponge. So you notice, like if you eat a blue popsicle or you eat something red, your tongue turns red, right? And that's because it's absorbing. There's these little microscopic hair-like fibers on your tongue that kind of hold in all of that stuff. So it's really important. The white tongue typically means dehydration. So if you are, and I tell my patients this all the time, one way that you can tell if you're dehydrated is looking at your tongue. If your tongue is white and you have a white coating on your tongue, you got to up your water intake. If it's more pink, then it's in pretty good standing. More of a dehydration issue, because you can't really, if you're trying to brush all that, it really doesn't all go away. But if you up your water intake, definitely that will help that for sure. And dehydration leads to really stank breath. It really does, because it really allows the bacteria, and we're going to talk about some fecal matter in a second here.
Yeah.
But what it really does is it allows the bacteria to thrive in that type of environment, because you're not really washing it away with proper saliva.
Okay.
So if you ever notice that you smell somebody's breath and you're like, dang, his breath smells like shit, right? It smells really bad, because for real, there is fecal matter in his mouth. I know, it's really, it's it's so nasty if you think about that. So think about that. You out dating and you got somebody, knowing, you know, for me, it's like, you know, I meet somebody, that's the first thing I look at is their mouth. Is I'm kind of, you know, trying not to judge, but I'm also like, he's not really taking care of his mouth. But I think that, you know, as far as dating is concerned, we have to really be conscious of our health, not just the physical outside,
Exactly.
but the gateway to your health, you know, because really it's more about what you put in. We can work it out, we should be working out, but it really is more about what you're putting in that mouth. So your mouth is the dirtiest place in your whole body. It's like it really is like a garbage can.
Oh.
You know, there's no other place in the body that has the amount. There's tens of thousands of different types of bacteria that hang out in your mouth. Yeah, so it's a lot. It's a lot. So we drink coffee. These are things that cause that dehydration. You look at your tongue after you have coffee, you got some brown tongue, it's brown, but I bet you if you look closer, you're gonna see some underlying white under the tongue as well. Okay. So coffee is a huge sucker of moisture and hydration from your body. So, and it has acid. So that's another issue we got to be careful of. I know that nowadays our diets are full of like kombucha, which I love me some kombucha, okay? Love it. People are doing the apple cider vinegar and things like that. These things are really dangerous and harmful to your teeth, but not only to your teeth, but your bones overall. It can erode your bones in general. So I always tell people, when you have your water, your coffee, have some water. Mm-hmm. Your carbonic drinks, your acid, your fizzy drinks, have some water. Mm-hmm. You should be drinking about half your body weight in water in ounces a day. So if you're 200 pounds, you should be drinking 100 ounces of water a day. And that's really going to help. That's really going to help. It's going to give you kind of a shower for the insides. It's going to keep your mouth in good shape. It's going to help you with your dehydration. And it's going to definitely help you with that bad breath.
Okay, now you got to get into this whole, how are you using marijuana, weed to help the mouth, my girl?
I know, look. I know.
So tell us about your whole business and educate us.
Yeah, so I have a business called Oral Health and Wellness Learning, and I've always been pro-cannabis, and I've always theorized that cannabis is beneficial to our health. And because I've seen people that have benefited from cannabis, I know people that have struggled with certain illnesses, and I know that the cannabis kind of helps them with that. So for me, it was important and I do a lot of presentations on cannabis, helping to break the stigma, helping people understand who's using cannabis, why they're using it, the results of their use. So I wanted to tie the two together. I wanted to bridge the gap between cannabis and oral health, or actually people that make decisions about our health. So that's doctors, that's educators, that's law enforcement. You know, I want people to understand what the face of cannabis is, and it's not what people think it is. I've had many presentations where I spoke different age groups, and I wanted to make sure that I got the point across. So what I did is I developed a CBD product. And what CBD does, there's a part of your body called the endocannabinoid system. And it's a system that's in your central nervous system and in your gut. And what it is a system of receptors that's looking for cannabis, is looking for cannabinoids. CBD stands for cannabinoids. Now, we make our own cannabinoids. There's there are some parts of our body that make cannabinoids, but guess what else makes cannabinoids? Marijuana. So you have the hemp, which is legal at the federal level, and then you have the marijuana plant. They're almost identical. The difference between the two is the amount of THC, and the THC, of course, we know is what gives you that high factor. But the benefits of this plant is substantial. And a couple of the major benefits is inflammation and pain. So knowing what I know about oral health and knowing that the bleeding and all that stuff is regarded to inflammation, I thought, let me think about this. I can bridge the gap and talk about it, but I can also produce something that will actually help with the mouth, with inflammation, reduce inflammation, and also with pain. So I have some people that are using it. I have a girlfriend who is in full braces, and once she gets her braces tightened, she'll use the product, and she'll use it before to help with to manage the pain, and she'll use it after.
You got the product?
I do. So this is my product.
Okay.
And it is called the Oral Spritzer.
Okay.
Something I've always thought about. Give me a little spritz. So I said, okay, I'm going to call it the Oral Spritzer.
Just to make sure it's clear, I don't want people to be buying your spray thinking they're going to get high. Okay.
You ain't gonna get high. Well, you're not gonna get high, but you're gonna feel better. You definitely gonna feel better. You're gonna feel better. It's 100% hemp, so there's no THC in it. It's 300 milligrams of CBD, and you squirt it under your tongue. And what it does is CBD helps to promote balance throughout your body. It's looking to create harmony. So because it's in your central nervous system and in your gut is responsible for inflammation. And your central nervous system helps to balance pain. So your body is looking for these receptors are looking for it. It's looking for it. And I said, okay, we're going to create this, and we're going to market it to people that want to try something that is not over-the-counter pain medication. And I'm looking to actually introduce it into a couple of dental offices to help people who don't necessarily want to take medications to manage their pain and want to try something. I mean, if it doesn't work, you always have your medication. But what I've found is that it's been very beneficial for a lot of people, and I use it daily. My aunt uses it. She uses it. She puts it on her knees directly, and it helps with her arthritis,
so
inflammation.
You don't have to put it in your mouth. You could use it. Oh,
yep.
Okay.
Yep. You don't necessarily have to put it in under your tongue. You could put it topically where you're having some issues, and it really does help a great deal. Alex, my honey, was working on his grandmother's backyard and got poison oak all over his arms. And we get up in the middle of the night in pain. I said, okay, let's try Benadryl. No, you don't mean. No, I'm not taking no medicine. All right, let's try the CBD. And he said that was the only thing that soothed his arms. That was the only thing that would help him was the CBD. Wow. So I stand by, I believe in it. I know the benefits of theorizing and seeing the benefits of marijuana. And so this is my product, and there's going to be more to come.
Any other things you want to share with us? Any other, what about like just natural stuff, like for people who can't, I hate to say this, but this is true. There's people who can't afford to buy Listerine, to help. What do you feel about Listerine? Do you feel like that does help? And if people can't afford to buy it, what can they use at home? Like I know baking soda and water, but what else can they use?
So Listerine, I'm not a huge fan of Listerine.
Okay.
And partly is because a lot of Listerine has alcohol in it. Alcohol is drying. Okay. Also, it has a lot of essential oils, which will cause a lot of stain on your teeth.
Again, will cause a lot of what?
It will cause a lot of stain on your teeth, a lot of stain. So I'm not a huge fan of Listerine, especially from a hygiene standpoint. I'm not trying to be working on all that stain. I'm trying to get to the problem. But this Listerine, for me, I think we keep it simple. I like saltwater rinses. I think saltwater rinses are great. Baking soda and hydrogen peroxide is great. Helps relieve, it reduces the stain. Also is therapeutic. But you don't want to use the baking soda every day. You're going to use it a couple of times a week because it is abrasive.
Yeah. Now,
and scratch your teeth.
Give us instructions, because a lot of people may say, okay, baking soda, hydrogen peroxide, but how do you use it?
Okay, so what I recommend is take about maybe a teaspoon or even a half a teaspoon of baking soda, put a few drops of peroxide, mix it in, kind of make it a paste, and then you brush with it.
Okay.
So that will reduce the staining. It will promote balance in the mouth, and it helps to the brushing will help to massage and stimulate the gums. So I would recommend doing that maybe a couple of times a week. Also, warm salt water is really good. Gargling with warm salt water. Salt water helps to speed up the healing process. So if you have some bleeding, or even after you floss, you can rinse with the peroxide, the water, the salt water. It speeds up, and it's also very soothing. So if you're having some issues in your mouth, definitely salt water. You could do it as much as you want. I recommend rinsing for about 30 seconds, and you're going to take about a coffee cup full of warm water. Warm water from the faucet, as warm as you can handle it. That's as warm as you don't want hot water. And about a teaspoon of salt, and you're gonna gargle with that for about the 30 seconds. Also, it's good for your throat. So if you are feeling a little sore throat, feeling a little under weather, really gargling, tipping your head back and really gargling with that salt water helps to pull out that protein in your throat. So those tonsil stones that we were talking about.
Yeah. Does it help that too?
It does help that. And it's more of a precursor. So I would do that on a regular basis. Once you get those tonsil stones, it's not going to help as much. I actually go in and remove patients' tonsil stones, and that's, even with nowadays, I got 2 masks on. I'm wearing 2 masks. I can still smell it. I can still smell it through the mask. So it's pretty bad.
From where does the tonsil stone comes from? Is that from a cold or flu? Where does that come from? So
tonsil stones will only happen to people that have tonsils still. And a lot of it is from like postnasal drip. And a lot of times we don't even know that we have postnasal drip. That's another nasty deal breaker, that postnasal drip. But the water, staying hydrated will help that. Okay. But that's where it comes from. It comes from, and if the tonsils look like Swiss cheese. So it has these little holes, these little gaps in it. And so the tonsil stones will fill up in there as your postnasal drip, yes, food and all that stuff. And if you're not hydrated, it just kind of stays there. And yeah, that's where those tonsil stones come from. They're pretty nasty. They're pretty nasty. But yes, it also comes from having a cold, but postnasal drip and all the foods and things that you're eating that aren't getting properly washed away, they just kind of linger in the back of your throat.
And so how would someone at home get rid of them? Because, again, a lot of people in the community won't go and get them done. So right now, if they're watching this video and they look in the back of their throat and they see it, they're like, oh my God, I'm not going to go to the dentist. So what ways can they go to get it out? I know they might have to just go in there and just.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you're just going to have to do a nice big old hock. Go a couple of hocks to get it out, because they're in there and they're in there hard. You might be able to reach back there with maybe a spoon, but I would recommend just trying to clear your throat, but kind of do it pretty hard a few times and see if you can get it to come up. That's probably the best way to get those out. But the salt water will help that as well. It will help, calm that down a little bit.
Okay. Oh, it's like, yeah, but
and just think about that, Charlotte. Here we are with our masks on, and now you have a little bit better understanding. I mean, it's bad breath, but it's a lot more.
A lot more to it. And I know people have been making jokes about putting on the mask and being able to smell your breath. But that's an awareness that I wanted to bring, you know,
Yeah.
everybody. And then when I thought about you, I was like, oh, I know an expert. They ain't got to just hear me talk about it. They're going to do an expert. So I am so proud of you for finishing up and getting your own business. And tell us where we can see you. Do you do counseling? If somebody wants to just only talk to you and try to figure out how to do something, like, again, let's say they don't want to go to a dentist, maybe they can contact you and have a private consultation. Maybe you can Zoom with them and help them out. Do you offer those kind of services?
Yes, I do. I do it for both. I do it for oral health and I do it for cannabis. People can reach me at my Instagram, which is Oral Health Wellness. Okay. And you can just DM me if you want some more information. But I like to, what I do for a lot of people is help walk them through the process of cannabis, talk to them about what their concerns are, what they want to try it for. And it doesn't work for everybody. I don't recommend it for everybody, but I do think that there is some benefit. So I have it that I talk to people in a safe, non-judgmental environment, whatever the case may be. And we discuss that. Now for oral health as well. So if you have some issues and you want to have just some discussions about what you're going through with your oral health. Also, if you have a dental emergency, we talk about that as well. I can help at least give you a little better understanding of what is going on in your mouth, and definitely encourage you to seek dentists, but also talk to you about what you need to do to at least prevent it from getting worse. There's some instances where you have to go. I hope to help those that have had bad experiences so that they can go go to the dentist in a good way and good experience, at least be able to talk them off the ledge so that they can go and try to have a good experience, and just give them some consultation and give them some positive feedback and help them walk them through that process as well.
So besides hydration, which is very important, is there any other home remedies that they can do to keep their breath fresh? Since in a Listerine, and now that I understand more, I'm going to back off the Listerine and try to do more of the salt water. But is there anything else? Should we be, is it something that we do for our gut to help it to come out better? Is it a ginger? Is there anything at home that we can do, that we can buy in besides this?
Yes, there's something that you can buy. Yes, there's something you can buy. Now,
okay, going back to the floss. Okay, there's a thing with the floss with the strip, and then the toothpicks. Do you like the toothpick ones? Are those good too, or no?
I'm not a huge fan of those because you can't really manipulate it, but I'd rather you do that than nothing at all, for sure. And I tell my patients to floss the teeth that they want to keep, but I've modified that a little bit and making sure, because not everybody is going to floss, and I want to be realistic about what they're going to do. So I want you to get in between your teeth with something, at least every day. So that could be a water pick, which is great because that's going to flush out. Also, these soft picks, these are wonderful. These are soft picks. And I should actually shout out to Gum and to Oral-B for making good products. So these are little green sticks. They're called soft picks because the green is super, super soft and very gentle. And basically all you're going to do is push it.
Yeah.
In between your teeth like so.
Okay.
And you want to try to make sure that it goes all the way through. And you might not be able to do that with all your teeth, but it's something that's super easy. I tell people, keep them in your car, keep them in your purse, your wallet. When you're somewhere, just go in between your teeth. So as far as home remedies, basically the bacteria that hangs out in your teeth is on your tongue, and it's in between the teeth. So you have to get in there and get that stuff out. So the floss has a dual benefit where it gets in between the teeth underneath the gums, but it also gets where the teeth are touching. So most of the cavities that we see are in between the teeth because people aren't really good about flossing. But when you go in between your teeth with floss or these little soft picks, smell it. If it smells like garbage, it's garbage. It really is. So hopefully that will inspire you to get in there a little bit more, because if you can smell it like that, just imagine what other people are smelling. Just imagine. So one other thing I wanted to show you is how to get to your back teeth, right? So there's this little, this is called an N-Tuff brush. It's also by Gum.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've seen those.
Yeah, these are great because this, as you can see, it's almost, to me, it's, I tell people it's like you're going to sweep behind your back teeth. So you're able to reach.
Okay. All the back.
And it feels good too.
Okay.
And that way you can get behind the back teeth if you're having trouble with the floss. So I want you to know that getting in between your teeth is critical. The other couple of things that you could do is get yourself a good, powerful toothbrush. Okay. This is the Sonicare. It's nice and
those. Okay.
Yes, I love this brush. It's great, Charlotte. It's great. Very powerful. They're called power toothbrushes for a reason, because they do all the work. You don't help it along, because you're gonna cause problems. The other one is an Oral-B.
Okay.
This one, this head, I love this brush because it's small, and you can get it everywhere. And it doesn't spin. People think it spins. It oscillates like a washing machine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you got that. Okay. This is probably my favorite. And it's case by case. Everybody's a little different. So just depends on what you need and what's going on in your mouth. And, you know, I talk to people about that, giving them advice of looking at what's going on and what their concerns are, what their budget is, and, you know, where we can find something.
Work budgets. That's
yes, for sure. Yeah, because it's definitely something that we have to be mindful of. I mean, I was out of work for a long time, and so I know how it is right now. People don't really have the resources, but you still got to take care of, you know, you still got to meet those unmet needs.
This is one thing I want to leave with as well. The gum chewing and the mint to try to mask it. That, to me, if you do that, you know that there's a problem, and maybe that fear of the dentist is why you're chewing the gum, why you're always popping some type of mint to try to keep the breath at bay, the bad breath at bay. But isn't that doing more harm than good?
Well, it's not necessarily doing more harm unless it's sugar gum. Okay. The harm is when you don't address it and you get to the point where you could actually lose a tooth. And gum disease doesn't hurt, so people know they have the bad breath, but it doesn't hurt until until the impact is just so substantial that you're more than likely going to lose a tooth or two. All these people that are wearing the GRILLZ and all that stuff, yeah. Oh yeah. Now let me tell you, I love them. Okay, I love it.
Yes, let's talk about that really quickly, because also I was going to ask you, okay, so with the GRILLZ, I hear the rumor is that their breath really stinks. And then this new trend of these white trays where they're putting in fake teeth to make your smile look white. How dangerous or how good is that? It looks great, it's cosmetic, but are people, they're putting them in and they're putting them in and they're covering their teeth to have this smile. Are they taking them out at night? And what does that do to your real teeth if you're putting these in? Because that's a new trend that I'm seeing on social media ads.
Yes, yes. Now let me tell you, I love a blinged out grill. I think they're just sexy, beautiful. However, if you're not addressing the underlying issues, it's going to be a problem. So when I see many people online, social media with the GRILLZ, I'm like this. Look real quick. Let me see what's going on over here. And the gums are usually kind of swollen and inflamed, so I know it's bad. It's bad. So basically what you're doing is you're holding in that bacteria. It has nowhere to go. So what it's going to do is because it's captured like that and it's sealed, you're basically sealing in the bacteria, right? So when it comes off, oh, I can only imagine how bad it smells. And I can tell that a lot of people aren't taking care of their teeth. So it's damaging. It's damaging to the foundation of your mouth. And once the foundation is failed, then you can, you know, put the grills on, it's not even gonna matter. But the breath is always gonna be an indicator that something is off. Something is off.
If some people who have grills, what can you tell them to do to help prevent that? Are they putting them on? Are they permanent? I don't really know about grills. So is it a plate that you just put on and take off like a ring, or does it stay on for weeks?
Most of the grills are removable.
Okay.
Most of them are removable. I've seen some that are permanent, like Lil Wayne. I think Lil Wayne's are probably more permanent than not. Yeah. And I could tell he's not. So Lil Wayne, holla at your girl, I can help you out. Yeah, so I think most of them are removable. So what I would tell people to do is when you take them out, brush them, clean them really well, put them in something, a clean container. You're not on the counter. Make sure you put it in something clean. You know, you want to make sure this is something that you're putting in your mouth. So you wouldn't knowingly take something that has bacteria on it and just put it in your mouth. But you're doing that if you don't take care of them. Take them out, clean them really well. You got to clean your mouth. You got to brush your teeth. You got to rinse your mouth out. Do the salt water afterwards. That's very beneficial.
So what about
but
the
definitely,
white smile things? What do you think about that new crave? What is that?
I'm not a fan because I know that it's not supported by dental care. I know that that's not something that they're going to the dental offices and getting made. They're getting it made on some social media platform. Mm-hmm. So I can't even speak to what type of material it is. It might be something that is actually harmful to your system, and you could react to it. I know a lot of people have reactions to nickel, which is in silver fillings. So you got to really be careful with these things that you're putting into your gateway of your health, your overall health. You have to be really careful. I know it's a trend, and I know I got a few gray hairs and I'm a little old school, but at the same time, I'm here trying to help people make sure that my main objective is for your mouth to stay healthy, because the last thing you want to do is to get a little bit older and then not have your teeth, or have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars replacing dental work, or not if you don't have the money, and then struggling with eating. Now, imagine that. I've had patients that are 16, 17 years old in partials because they had decay when they were young. So everything they eat, they can't eat like we eat. You just can't do it. So you want to make sure that you're thinking about what you're putting in your mouth. So I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but I want you to be healthy and make good choices while you're doing that process. And I can help you with that as well, too.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you for sharing your expertise with us. I'm going to leave all of her information in the description so that you can contact Kim. That's what I call her, Kim. Kim Farley. You'll be able to contact her yourself. And, it's no shame in the game. Your health is very important. It's all about self-love. If you want to be sexy, real sexy, you can't keep with the mints and the gums. You got to get to the real issue. If you guys are watching this on my YouTube channel, please subscribe and share this with someone you care. I know it's kind of hard to share my videos because people will feel defensive, like, what are you trying to say? You think I got bad breath? So I don't know how to tell you to share this, except for just try to share it as much as you can and try to help someone. I hope this helped someone. If you're watching this on my Facebook page, please like my page and share. And if you're watching this on my IGTV, please follow and share. And thanks again, Kim. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Charlotte. I appreciate you right back.
Okay. Until next week, I'll see you guys.
Okay.